They were, Flaherty and Hood was impressive. I mean, they're obviously well positioned. I think I counted, oh gosh, I can't remember, I left my sheet at home, but I went down the municipalities that they provide city attorney services for, and it was like 30. And then if I narrowed that down to cities of less than 2,000, there were still like 8. So they're very well positioned with cities of our size. And they are familiar, they represent 2 communities in Chisago County. And that's important too.
I did leave a message at Pine City too, to try to get a referral, because I wanted to hear from them what they thought. And I was impressed that they were locally around. I also like the southern cities, they're still smaller, and they're on the river, and that's huge. They understand it. I think they did their homework.
I was just gonna say that, John. They did their homework, they're familiar with Taylor's Falls and our issues. From a professional standpoint, and also from a personal standpoint. NAC was good, but it's kind of boilerplate, and it just didn't get the feel that, he knew what was going on here like Flaherty did. And there's this tremendous team behind Flaherty as well, like Tim said, they'll do what's best for Taylor's Falls with much discussion, and not just, maybe fire off the hip like, somebody else might. But yeah, I think that I like Flaherty very much, and I give him very high marks for, the presentation, their fee is less, easier to digest, and there's flexibility there. I don't remember NAC talking about any flexibility in his fees either, so, yeah.
At the risk of bringing this meeting to 4 p.m. and probably taking a couple more recesses, I'm going to disagree with both of those assessments. I think Mr. Knack was directly focused on small cities. I think he had a love of working with small cities and representing them. As far as Councilmember Julix Hines' description of Knack as a boilerplate, I see it completely the opposite. I see Flaherty and Hood as the boilerplate. In fact, it felt like a presentation to me, almost, actually a sales presentation, and I wasn't really sold. I think both the presentation and mainly the fee structure are convoluted. I think our clerk treasurer will be spending too much time figuring out what fee goes where, how we're charged for one or the other. I like the idea of a retainer fee. I think the attorney Knack laid out why he does the retainer fee, why he suggests a fixed fee, and he has a very good argument for that right at the beginning. I really liked, I agree with the mayor, when Fritz said that he was going to be at every meeting, and that he has a responsibility to be at every meeting, and he said you should want him to be at every meeting. I think we had a counselor there who was going to really fight for us and has our best interest in mind. And I also like what he said when we talked about the city, and I asked him who is the city. Flaherty and Hood just seems to concentrate, their definition of city is the corporate city or us sitting up here. The one reference they made in their proposal to the citizens was a taxpayer. So they referred to the citizens as taxpayers. And they are taxpayers, but they're more than that. And I think Frederick Knack really understood that. That's why I asked about when he said he would field questions from citizens. He actually said, yeah, I actually talked to them. They'll actually talk to the citizens. And I think that's what we really need right now. We don't need a further separation between this council and the people that are in the city of Taylor's Falls. We need to bridge that gap, and I think Frederick Knack was the attorney that can do that and help us going forward, and is ready to start right away with the first meeting.
Well, I like them both. Good qualities in both. Frederick Knack, a lot of experience, a little more than the Flaherty Hood, but Ms. Harrington really only 3.5 years' experience in total municipal law, the way it sounded. They both answered questions good. The, Mac was, like you said, very interested in the small cities, appreciates the small cities. But both of them did very well, I thought. I like the, Flaherty, not Flaherty, the NAC, pricing. I like theirs a little bit better. And like, Troy said that, there's a lot of different fee schedules with the Flaherty Hood. But overall they were pretty good, I thought.
You know, I should have asked this question, I didn't think of it at the time, but I'm confused, and maybe I just misread the proposal, at what cities NAC actually represents. He mentioned that he was the city attorney for Ridley and Ramsey.
Drew Ford.
Afton.
Afton.
What's the other one that's down
So I didn't get a sense for a extensive portfolio, I guess, as compared to.
Bayport, you mentioned. It was a Newport.
Ridley, Maplewood, and Ramsey.
So they're not small communities. I guess I didn't hear him mention a small community that they represented.
Newport is small.
Pardon?
Yeah, Newport would be the smallest.
Eh,
I don't know what size.
I don't
It's not
consider
there.
Newport small.
Yeah, Newport's pretty good size.
And maybe, like I said, maybe I missed it, but, I didn't hear him speak to a small community that they represented. I mean, small being, 2,000 or less, in my mind, is a pretty small community.
Lake Elmo would be this next one. I see he's listed.
And that's pretty big these days too, very complicated. So I think if we could ask Mary, to have that clarified and get us that information, what cities he currently is, his firm, I should say, what cities the firm is currently takes the role of city attorney with.
And on that, I guess I'd like to point out, a contradiction on the Flaherty and Hood side. Right in the proposal on page 1, they state high quality and timely service. Flaherty and Hood will not view Taylor's Falls as just another client among many. And then when you turn the page, they list quite a few cities. So tell me, where's the authenticity there? If you're gonna tell me you are just not gonna be, looked at as one city among many, and then on the next page, there's about 25, 15 to 20 cities here that they represent, all of various sizes. So if it's a quantity, issue, then I think, Flaherty and Hood has their quantity that they're going for. And I guess I'm a little curious as to how they can tell me that Taylor's Falls will not be looked at as just another city when they've got a full list of cities they're already representing. And we were just having a discussion about Frederick Knack, who basically has 2 or 3 and likes to focus on smaller cities. And from what I understand from the proposal, resides or has some office in White Bear Lake, which is also gonna facilitate his attendance to our meetings.
Was there a question you wanted me to ask them, or was that
No.
just, okay.
Afton has a population of 2,900.
are the attorneys specifically for Taylor's Falls. And, I would suspect that as our representatives, they would treat us, you know, as their primary client. With the need for, any discussion or advice, you know, they have a team of other attorneys that handle those other cities. And I think that really is a benefit to, their ability to take care of any needs that the city of Taylor's Falls would have on a personal primary basis as our attorneys. You know, the fact that they have 20, 30 other cities that they represent, I think that's a good thing. You know, that's a wealth of experience and, knowledge of what it takes to be an attorney for a small city.
And I think Alyssa was very passionate about, when asked, you know, why they wanted to represent the city. She was very passionate about it, both personally and professionally. I thought that was fairly impressive myself.
Well, let's go back to that quantity then of the cities that, Councilmember Juliakine feels is to the benefit of an attorney. In representing those, I'm looking at the proposal here on page 5. Chris Hood has quite a few cities, maybe 12, 15. Robert Scott has, Little Falls, New Ulm, city attorney, it looks like there might be some other cities. Alyssa, who is the attorney that would be assigned to us, her description is she's an associate attorney for Flaherty and Hood and concentrates her practice in the areas of municipal law, real estate law, and administrative law. She serves as an assistant city attorney for the firms above mentioned. So at this point, it looks like Alyssa would be our first, we would be her first client.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
That's what I'm reading.
Do I hear a comment on that, or? No?
No.
You know, when questions are great, when we sit and put them together, but when you sit down and you look at somebody and you have your gut tell you, I'm not telling anybody how to make their decision. I'm telling you how I felt. I had, by paper, my mind made up before I came in here today, just on what I read, on both. It changed after I sat down here. I got more comfortable, I'll be honest with you, I got more comfortable with, Fitz right away than I thought I was going to. If I compare their pieces of paper to me, yeah, no, I like the other one. But my comfort level with him, I did get comfortable with him. I felt like he would be, I think they both would be representing us well, but I've always been told to trust my gut instinct. And so right now I'm leaning towards Fritz. I went against my gut instinct in the past in many decisions in life, and I've been called on it, and my wife calls me on it to this day. And so, it's not easy to go with your gut feeling when the paper looks so good. I'm definitely gonna take time before Monday. I'm not gonna make a decision today. I need time to review all my notes and think about it. But I'm just sharing my gut feeling on this. I think Alyssa, towards the end, opened up finally, like Tim said, and she became a person and not a robot. When she first started, it was very professional, great, we're small town, you know, we need the professionalism. But I also believe that, when she opened up, I felt more comfortable with her at the end too, so they were really complementary to each other. If we could put them together, it'd be wonderful, you know? So I'm gonna take time to think about it, I can't make a decision today.
Yeah, and I guess I will, if I can just add to that, my gut decision, or my decision was, I'll be honest, was made before I came in, after just viewing the proposals. I knew who I liked right away. And that was only reinforced today. So I might as well be out there and out in the open. That's that's the firm I like, is Holstead and Knock and Knack, and, I probably, I'm gonna look at it some more, obviously, but I'm not gonna change my mind. So, that's where we're at on that, I'm kind of, that's the firm that I prefer on these two. Now, however, we also have the option, I'm sure, of starting over essentially, not choosing either one of these, posting another RFP. However, if we do that, that's fine, I will, that's something we can consider. But I, right now, wanna compliment this council and Mary and the staff, for what a fantastic job all of us have done for new council to address a very serious issue for the city in a very short amount of time, and I think we all did a great job, so thank you for that.
Yeah, Troy, to your point about tabling this whole thing, I don't find anything here that would disqualify either of these candidate, firms. Again, I'm gonna look at it what I think is best for the short-term and long-term benefit of the city. Part of that is, the cost of services. I've not made my mind up yet. I will. 99% chance made up by our meeting on Monday, but I'm still gonna hold myself open to other comments other people have. But just to speak to your comment about the proposals coming in here, I had the exact opposite feeling coming in. I've had experience, I don't think when I say I've reviewed thousands of contracts, I'm exaggerating. And this was one of the most clear-cut, easy to understand, comprehensive proposals from Flaherty and Hood that I've seen. I mean, it would rank right up there with the top. I felt, and I think I mentioned this early on, I got really nervous reading Holstead and Knack's proposal. It seemed too good to be true, and Brandon, I'm gonna go with, if it seems too good to be true, most often it is. There's a lot of services in here for not a lot of money. I think we're gonna end up paying more on an annual basis than what we have budgeted for with either firm. But when I see a list of these services and the fees that they're attaching to them, I get a little nervous. It just almost seemed too good to be true. Now, is that the case? Maybe not. Maybe it's perfect. But we want a professional firm to represent the city of Taylor's Falls. We want them to have the best opportunity of success. And right now where I'm sitting, given the tools that Brendan mentioned that Flaherty and Hood bring to the table, and their fee schedule, everybody has to have a fee schedule. If they don't have a fee schedule, they're not in business. And they were very upfront with what would be additional fees. I didn't get that feeling from Holstead and Knack, from Fritz, is that his name? And that's why I'd asked what would a proposal look like that was something more than 10 hours in any given month. And my goodness, if you add up 9 hours every month for various different things, I find it almost unreasonable that we're not gonna incur any more charges. If we threw 10 different situations at him that were unique and required additional hours, he doesn't have that kind of bandwidth to not charge us anymore. And that's where I didn't quite understand his proposal. I love it. It's, we know what, if that's what it was, we know what we're gonna spend for the entire year, that'd be one thing, but I just get nervous. And again, it's based on my experience. There'd be some uncomfortableness on my part given that. So
Are you concerned about the legitimacy of the proposal?
I don't know if legitimacy is the right word. It just seemed a bit too ambiguous to me, and I don't know. I'll have to read through it again, and see if there are some qualifiers there that I might have missed. But the fact that he had a flat fee and it included that list of services is impressive. Where I get more nervous is the complimentary services that, he either lacked or didn't have a great deal of experience in, at least as stated.
Mary,
Yes.
can you get a hold of those two and ask them for 3 or 4 cities that they work for that are 3,000 or less?
Sure.
So we got an idea.
Mhm.
Thanks.
Sure. Any other questions you want from?
Yeah, and I can provide the list that I compiled for Mary from, Flaherty and Hood's proposal. I pulled a spreadsheet off the League of Minnesota Cities website that has all the cities and populations and tax base, et cetera, and I just sorted that by who,
Well, then you probably just have to get a hold of Mac and
so the NAC was the one I couldn't find really good information on it, so.
So you just want me to reach out to NAC then?
yeah.
Holstein NAC?
And this was based on 2020 census data.
Excuse me.
I think we need to, a few of us should reach out and talk to references.
References, good idea.
I mean, we can't, I personally would wanna hear, I wanna hear what Pine City has to say, because they're close. I wanna hear what North Branch has to say.
Right.
I think those two
Afton.
are, and Afton. And if we get a list of other smaller cities that, Fritz does, I think, you know, we can listen to them and we can compile it and make a sound decision.
Did he give a list of references? Oh, he did.
Yeah, there's,
three,
yep.
but they were, the only small one was Afton.
Okay.
So we could call Afton. See, and maybe if we reach out, say, is there any other smaller size towns like us? And if he has anything, I mean, he doesn't have to currently be working with them, but we just need to hear.
Yeah.
Cause if we call and Afton says, nope, he's never charged us anymore, then we know it's on the up and up.
Do we need to agree on, procedure for making a decision here on the 23rd? Do we decide on a vote, or is it just gonna be a discussion, a consensus? I'm having a hard time
Well,
finding closure with a, discussion for a consensus without a vote, I guess.
That should be.
And we could,
It should be, I don't think this council can work on consensus. I think that would, if this were a work group, if we assigned 2 of us to work with a group to come up with this, that could be consensus driven, they bring a recommendation to the council.
Right.
But I think it would require us of a formal
Okay.
motion and vote.
I agree now.
and then the option to reject both.
Good.
And, okay, is also up there, I suppose. I don't know, it's up to you, however you guys wanna do it, but.
Do we wanna do a ballot vote? There's 2 ways we can do this through Robert's Rule of Orders. We can do it where we all write it down and Mary reads it off, or we can just come out and say it. I don't care what way we do it. What does the council wanna do?
If you had a secret ballot, you would have to make
She
it,
reads them off. I'm
Pardon
just
me?
saying she could read them off and she'll
Oh,
say
I
Troy votes
gotcha.
for this person.
Gotcha.
I vote for
But
this
you have to
person.
say who did it.
Huh?
That's the secretive. You
No,
can't-
she'd have to announce,
Oh, okay.
council member so-and-so vote for this.
No preference either way.
Either
so-
way's fine.
Either way's fine.
I just don't know if it's easier for people to do that and we can get them to marry. I don't care. We can stand up here and do it too. I wanna make sure that we reach out to some references though, so.
Well, I think procedurally it might be easier and most efficient to do it that way, because then, basically, then somebody would make a motion.
What's
Because it's
that?
gotta be,
Motion second, we hand her the ballots, she reads off every single vote and who voted for who though. We have to make that.
Yeah, because it's a little less transparent, just a little, but it is less transparent. But, like I said, I'm fine either way, as long as my name is read.
Right.
With our vote, or our names are read with our vote, that's great.
it's gonna be 5-0, 4-1, or 3-2,
That's right.
right? So,
Or start over.
but I like the idea, at least we can start with that. a motion can be made, discussion can be had, and if people wanna change their vote at that point, they can do that when we formally vote on it.
Good?
Yeah.
We're good? Yep. All right, any other discussion before we adjourn?
That
Did
was
you
a
wanna
good-
decide who was going to reach out and do the, phone calls?
You know, I already left a message for the city of, Pine City, so I'm waiting to hear back, they might call while we've been in here.
We can each do that on our own.
How about everybody
I
does
think
one?
everybody can call.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah, I mean, and we can just have that discussion, hey, you know, I mean, I don't think we need to do a written form for many of us, we can just have that discussion. I would just suggest somebody, each of us, do our due diligence.
Did you want to, so I will reach out and get names, and then I'm just going to tell all council members who those are.
Okay.
And then, in order for the information to get back to the council members, are you gonna send me any information to broadcast out to council, or are you just gonna bring it up at the next council meeting? So you're gonna
Yeah,
reach out.
if you wanna reach out, we have to go through Mary, so either that or we bring whatever we find from reference checks with us to the meeting and have a discussion about it.
Right, so the question is, after you do your reference check, are you gonna send me information and I will just broadcast it out to all council, or are you just gonna bring it to the meeting?
I think we I'm just suggesting we bring it to the meeting, because, I think each of us might reach out to the references on our own choices, who we wanna reach out to, and, if we feel that's important, to share at the meeting, then we can do that.
Well, I think it's important that we have as much information before we go into the meeting, and that would include the references, so we don't get blindsided by anything.
Okay.
So, if you get some information that you feel is pertinent to the discussion, I would say pass it to Mary, so that we all know what you're finding out.
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
Yeah. And Mary, I don't have contact information for the firms at Flaherty and Hood, I just have the municipalities, so I don't know if, are we just calling the
You know-
mayor, or are we?
I just called the city office and left a message and told them who I was.
Okay, then we don't need to have them do anything more than that. It's
I
easy
didn't
to
even
find
say,
it.
I was just calling for reference check on the law firm, and I left it at that, I didn't say anything else.
Okay, perfect.
If you get back to me, are you gonna, just a question, so I know how I'm handling this. Are you gonna get back to me with the question that you asked them and their answer, or you're just, whatever you believe what is what they've said?
Yeah, I'll just, when I hear back, I'll just send you an email with, you know, how they spoke of.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be,
Yeah, I don't have
Fairly
any
generic, you know.
questions, I just wanna talk to them and get their feeling for the law
Correct.
firm.
Okay.
And then I'll read that as well at the meeting.
So you do not want me to broadcast?
Oh, no, go ahead, you can send it,
Okay.
yeah. I just wanna make sure that I let everybody know what we're talking about, so I'll report any of my findings to everybody at the meeting on Monday. Any other? We good?
I'd just like to echo what Troy said, nice job.
Thank you.
Good
Good
question.
job, everybody.
very good. Thanks, everybody.
All right, we need a motion to close the meeting.
I'll move, we adjourn.
Second,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.